And we're back. Hello, Mrs. Palaria. Hello, Sergeant Nails. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, I'm taking her away now.
Certainly. I invited a few of my international customers up here, and one of them placed a box containing a stolen Buddha under the sofa. I'm convinced it was not Chutney Miles. I was with him every moment, so he could not have hidden the box. But when Madame Wen and Mrs. Buran were here, both Melinda and I were distracted by phone calls.
We searched the suite because we caught an international thief at the airport. The detective from Egypt who'd been tracking the Buddha, Mr. Ali Bandar, spotted the thief when he got off the plane from Amsterdam. The thief wants the judge to go easy on him, so he confessed that he was supposed to go pick up the Buddha from beneath the sofa and deliver it to a collector in New York. Sure enough, we searched the suite and found the statue, but nobody knows who stole it in Tibet and brought it here. It was packed in some kind of strange grass or plants or something.
I hope you find the thief soon. I do not enjoy being treated like a criminal.
If it's not one of the suspects from overseas, they're not going anywhere. Oh, if it is. Whoops. They're not going anywhere until we solve this case. Their passports are in a safety deposit box down at the bank. Down at the bank.
I'm gonna go to the bank because, that's gonna be the most telling thing. Like, who was in Tibet? Yeah, I'd like Tibet. Cool. Mr. Green will let us inspect the passports of the suspects in the Buddha case. Although that really is breaking all the privacy laws.
The foreign suspects in this case won't be able to leave the country without their passports, so don't destroy them. Police Chief Barnes asked me to put them in a safety deposit box. Here in our vault. Follow me. The passports are an official document that are marked every time you enter a new country. Indeed it is, although the mark that was on mine saying I was going to America has somehow actually wiped off, so it looks like I've been nowhere. Mrs. Baran's passport shows that she was home in Indonesia until 3 weeks ago when she went to Tibet. 2 weeks ago she went to the Philippines and then to Costa Rica and then to the USA. Sounds like she might have done it. Ah, come on! You all went to Tibet? Chutney Miles' passport shows that he travelled all over Europe, then to Tibet, where he arrived about 3 weeks ago. Then he went to Thailand, Singapore, and Korea, and then to the USA. Madame Wen also travels a lot. From her home in Hong Kong, she went to Tibet about 3 weeks ago. Then she flew to India, where she stayed for quite some time. Finally, she flew to Canada and then to the USA. Madame Wen's daughter May has her own passport, as she would. It shows she was at home in Hong Kong until about a week ago when she flew into Canada and then came to the USA with her mother. Fantastic. They've all been to Tibet except for the daughter. Hey, look, it's Melinda Juice. Looking very bright and green inside the very brown office. Melinda Juice was helping Mrs. Palaria in the suite when the Buddha was found. It looks like Chief Barnes just finished asking her questions. He would not ask questions here. Hi, kids. Glad to see you're on the case. We could use all the help we can get. The passports of the foreign suspects are in the safe deposit box at the bank. We have their statements recorded on video in that file cabinet over there. Oh dear, I cannot speak today. Mr. Ali Bandar, the detective from Egypt, has been following this case since the theft was reported in Tibet 3 weeks ago. You may want to talk to him. Here, I'll show you the Buddha and the box we found it in. Where is he? I think he might be at the library, which is a stupid place for him to be. The box is only 1 foot tall and has been carved by hand from a single block of wood. The jade statue is packed in some kind of plant fibers. Interesting. Hey, Melinda.
Jennifer Resulka, I'd just like to say I really don't know anything about this statue. I've never been out of the United States, let alone Tibet.
Mrs. Pilaria asked me to help her conduct some art business in the Andrew Jackson suite. I almost said the Jackson Andrew suite. Oh dear. I didn't know anything about the Buddha until Chief Barnes asked me to come to the station. He asked me if I saw anyone slip the box under the sofa. I was so busy searching through art books for Mrs. Pilaria, I wouldn't have noticed if anyone put a bomb under that sofa. Who was in the suite while you were there? Well, there was Miles Chutney from New Zealand. There is no New Zealand man called Chutney Miles, or as I said, Miles Chutney. Charming man. There is Mrs. Boran from Indonesia, a very wealthy woman, and Madame Wen and her daughter May. And Mrs. Pilaria could have hidden the box herself. As you can see, I came with all... I still have some of the art books with me. I was so nervous being called to the police station, I just picked up everything in sight and came. The books show rare statues, painting, and other works of art. Tucked in one of those books is Mrs. Pilaria's passport. You see that Mrs. Pilaria's been travelling. She was in India 6 weeks ago, Tibet 3 weeks ago, and Japan 2 weeks ago. Interesting. Here's a video statement of Madame Wen. Since she speaks no English, her statements have been translated by her daughter Meg. My mother says she... Oh, this is just like a little child. My mother says she is saddened to be a suspect of such a crime. Nothing like this has ever happened to her before, except last time when the idol went missing and we were here. She came to Mrs. Pilaria to show her some fine Roman sculptures we have for sale. Neither she nor I know anything about the theft. Great. This video is labeled Chutney Miles. I'm Chutney Z. Miles, Esquire of Christchurch, New Zealand. Oh, no, not really. Secretly, I am British. I was in Tibet when the Buddha was stolen, but I honestly know nothing of the theft. I paid a visit to my friend Mrs. Pilaria early this evening, and showed her and Mrs. Oh, whoops, let me do that again. And showed her and Mrs. Juice some carvings I purchased in India. That is all I know about this affair. Here's a video of Mrs. Boran. I was questioned by the police in Tibet at the time of the theft. Chief Barnes and cleared by them. I do not sell art, I buy only for my personal enjoyment, and I do not care for statues. The Buddha is of no interest to me. I went to the rooms of Mrs. Pilaria. They had some nice things, but nothing I wish to buy. I brought some samples of art that interest me and showed them. That is all I know. Thank you, come again. So yeah, I guess we go speak to the Egyptian guy, who knows why is at the... There he is, at the library, sitting down at a table, for no reason. I was like, no one's here, but no, then I noticed there was a little person in the chair. Oh, Mrs. Garcia, if you need information from all over the world, the library is a good place to go. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Resulka. A plant packed in plant materials. The gentleman over there is already looking in the botany section for exactly the same information. Botany is the area of science that studies plants. Mrs. Garcia, I think he's a detective from Egypt who's here to investigate the stolen Buddha. A stolen Buddha! Statues of Buddhas are sacred items in some countries. It would be terrible to have one stolen. Yes, Mrs. Garcia. Oh, you are a very handsome, roguish-looking man. Well, you must be the young detectives that Chief Barnes told me about. I have some new clues for you. Though I should really... This is, not something we do in Egypt, giving clues to children. The plants stuffed in the box were harvested less than a month ago in India. It's commonly used for packing material there. India is the only place that this material grows. I am sure that the Buddha was smuggled out of Tibet. It passed through India on its way to the United States. Amazing. Well, we will be back to solve the case. So yes, see you guys soon. Bye bye.